leadership, vision, unity, legacy. These are the key pillars of the Antiguans Barbudans Labour Party. And we witness this tonight with the launch of a renaissance, a new era. And to explain it to us a little bit better, I have the Honorable E.P. Chet Green, our party's chairman, and also the representative for St. Paul. And I know for a fact he is going to be our representative for St. Paul again come April 30th. Join me in welcoming our chairman, Comrade E.P. Chet Green. Tell me, what exactly is Renaissance?
Renaissance is that period that we're now entering into. That period of renewal, of refreshing, of advancing the development thrust of Antigua Barbuda. Quintessentially, it's about a people-centered or people-centric movement. So it's not just an abstract, it's not a phrase, it's the real touchstone of our community. So when we talk of the Renaissance in healthcare, in education, in housing, in tourism, all of the areas of national development, we speak of Renaissance, we talk about an advance, a movement of the people, a renewal of that which we set about to do in 2014 when we first came to office. We have achieved and accomplished much, but the work continues. And a new burst of energy, a new commitment, a new building of a relationship with the people of Antigua Barbuda is what this Renaissance period is all about. If you do history or study history, you can go back to the 17th century when Europe had its Renaissance, when classical music and art and all those things emerged out of Europe, which until today has sort of fashioned the way we see Europe.
Right.
So we're looking at that kind of rebirth, a newness of thinking, a newness of doing, a new way of doing things, all for the benefit of Antigua and Barbuda. But like I said, the most important thing in this Renaissance is this people-centric approach.
Definitely. And you know, tonight we saw a mixture of energy, of youth, and experience.
You witnessed the Renaissance.
We witnessed the Renaissance.
It is happening right before our very eyes. The involvement of the people, the leadership of the government. It is about a Renaissance period, which will mushroom and bloom and see Antigua Barbuda on another plane, a higher plane. Productivity. The way we see our country's development. The way we treat our healthcare and health standards. The way we see education. Look at education as an example. We talk of not only the UE coming, but the expansion of UE, the inclusion of a law faculty in UE. That is Renaissance. Yes. So those who don't quite maybe get it as yet, I hope you can understand and engage and start to internalize your own personal role, the collective role of Antiguans Barbudans in this new movement of people, the Renaissance.
I mean, we saw that tonight. Funny enough, you mentioned education, and earlier tonight we had a student, a final year student at UWI, and she spoke about what it meant for her as an Antiguan having a campus right here. So we see the foundation, we brought UE here, and then we would have taken it to another level, a higher level, by making it a bit more accessible, easier for the everyday man to access that higher level of education. So this is the new era.
Making our people more competitive globally. I mean, we are not prepared to watch the world go by us. Right. We are going to be part of this global movement. From this small country, we've done so much. There's much more to be done. And so I invite all Antiguans and Barbudans to join not only this campaign for re-election, but this national thrust, this national movement, to take Antigua and Barbuda to another plane, another level of our development, of progress, of prosperity. And of course, there has to be an all-inclusive approach in this Renaissance period.
Definitely. I want to pivot for a little bit. I want to speak about St. Paul's. So earlier tonight we had so many candidates here speaking about their constituency, what is happening, what they're doing, and their plans and expectations when they win. And I must say, Comrade Chairman, you would be so proud of the candidates here tonight. No one spoke in the tone of ifs or buts or maybe. It was the surety. When I am elected, when I am
casual. That has to do with the engagements of these candidates on the ground. They're touching flesh, they're knocking doors, and they're sharing this moment with the residents of the constituencies. Yeah. And so the confidence that they demonstrate tonight, it is what is required of all Antigua and Barbuda in this new Renaissance period. It calls for positivity.
Yeah, but how are we able to get to this particular space We know politics can be so dynamic and ever changing, but the Antiguan Barbuda Labour Party has been an institution that has survived well over 70 years. And yet still, we're still seeing fresh new persons. We're seeing doctors, pharmacists, lawyers.
We're
seeing
church.
educate.
We're church.
All is welcome.
There's room for every single citizen of this country in this movement. And with respect to the Renaissance period, it really calls for all of us to be a part of the vision, because it moves from a vision to a mission.
Correct.
And so we must join capture the vision.
Correct.
And as the former Prime Minister Lester would say, live the dream. This Renaissance is what this country requires to take us to another level. And so our candidates tonight speaking to you, having touched the flesh, as we say in political jargon, of the constituents, are satisfied with the commitments given that this new rebirth is being felt across the length and breadth of Antigua Barbuda. Even Barbuda, sister island.
Yes.
When you talk to Barbudans and you hear the level of conversation, the level of commitments given to this new exciting moment in national life, it's more than a buzzword. Renaissance is more than a simple catchphrase. It is something you can touch, feel, taste, identify with. But if I may answer in St. Paul's, like others have done in the constituencies, to be honest, I may take a more than the time we have here to go through St. Paul's.
Of course.
And so I'll try to paraphrase what we do in St. Paul's. I've said to friends and others that while others campaign, I maintain. And that's because I'm there every day. I'm there on every occasion. For me, St. Paul's is not just a constituency. It's my home. I was born there. So I understand everything that happens there. Marky, we're very welcoming. We welcome visitors and strangers alike. But home and the heart, those are something that are near and dear and common. We have a number of programs in St. Paul's that we have over the last several years conducted. Annually, there's a health month in October.
Yeah, I know that.
Annually, the children have their summer camp. The seniors have their summer tour of the country to see what developments take place. They have their Christmas event, Christmas party. There's so many things.
Oh, your Christmas parties.
We added to that recently tertiary training, short courses at UB5 Island and the lifelong learning units. Currently, we have about 30 students on short courses at UB. We have a couple others in longer programs. But we dedicated this year, 2026, as the year of the youth. And so other things that St. Paul this year focused on youth development, education of course being key. We also just completed the construction of a new technical center. One area of it is dealing with our young females and the area of beauty and skincare. And so an entire institution is being opened, Skincare Institute. That we're hoping to open next 10 to 12 days. So before the election of April 30th, we're hoping to have this new operation in St. Paul's. It also has an operation which, to the best of my knowledge, is the second time happening in Antigua, a toilet paper factory. And so we've been moving St. Paul in a different direction of entrepreneurial investment and industrial kind of arrangement. We also have opened 2 clinics, as you know. One in Cobbs Cross, a brand new clinic. I would have promised, the government would promise the people of Cobbs Cross a clinic in 2014 when we came to office. It was slow in coming for various reasons. First, when we came to office in 2014, what we inherited did not allow us to do the clinic. By 2020, we had COVID. But 2025, which is last year, we opened the clinic. It's operational. It is doing just what it's intended to do for the people of St. Paul's. In Liberty, where the clinic was shuttered almost because of dilapidated conditions, we renovated that one and retrofitted it. So we have 2 very functional clinics in St. Paul's, bringing healthcare services to a new level.
Yeah,
and so as we talk of Renaissance, we're in the mix, we're in the party, we're in the dance. We won't be left out.
Definitely.
We have a housing project. Prime Minister would have mentioned that in Budget Speech 26 for the Table Garden area. Chapel is currently busy demarcating and parceling another 5 acres of land for that purpose. And so that's happening in St. Paul's as well. Some of the best news I got came about 2 weeks ago when I learned that the John and Martin estate in Tyrrells is now settled. The Martin family having their court issues. Matters settled, and so we look forward to lands being opened up for housing development in Liberta.
Right.
It has been a thorny issue because we don't have much land in Liberta. Well, that's not true. We have plenty of land, but it was privately owned, or it is privately owned. So with the resolution of the Martin estate issues, we should be having some land assigned to government. Our position is not to take the amounts owed to government for land taxes, but rather trade those tax amounts for lands,
like
so
a
people
swap.
can have a swap. Exactly. So we have all those things happening. In Cubs Course at the clinic, the acquisition of private land is going to happen early in 2026 term, where we will have the opening of expanded healthcare facilities, a dental clinic, an eye clinic, and we hope also to have the allocating of the fire tender for the community. You know, we have a big economy. On any given day, the economy of St. Paul is kind of bigger than St. John's. If you don't have cruise ships in St. John's, and we have all our mega yachts, we're a bigger economy in St. Paul than St. John's.
Oh, that is true.
And so we have to cater to that economy.
That is true.
We're thinking of getting fire tenders, ambulatory services, to add that flair of a second town to St. Paul's. And so that is the mission beyond 2026 election. So we're already done. We're not resting on our laurels. We have an agenda which we'll pursue from day one.
And it's guided by a plan. Now, you just mentioned that you don't campaign, you maintain. That makes sense. And that underscores what's happening here with Antiguans Barbudans, the Labour Party. So what do you say to pundits who would say, oh, it's only around election time, you see things are happening? I know it's a fallacy, but what would you say to something like that?
I would ask a question. Is it therefore every day we have elections? Because something's always going on Antigua. Look at the road programs, for example. We came back to office in 2023, and there's not been a single week, month, day in that period of the last term, just ended a few days ago. We have not seen road construction somewhere in Antigua and Barbuda. The upgrade of medical facilities and healthcare in general, that is not just happening today because Prime Minister announced election date. That'll be happening with regularity and frequency from the time we came to office. And so I'm proud to be part of that team. A team which is focused on the work and the building of Antiguans Barbudans. A team which is now transitioning that work into a renaissance, a more powerful construct, embracing the mission of development, renewal, rebirth, you name it what you want to call it, but it's all about the people and moving Antiguans Barbudans forwards and upwards.
In a new
that
era.
is the simplest way I can put it. Moving our country forwards and upwards, but in a very deliberate, determined way, with a people-centric approach to it.
That is correct. April 30th.
That's the
We've
date.
heard the date, April 30th. What can the general public expect to happen between now and April 30th?
Before the 30th, we have April 13th, which is nominations day, next week, Monday. And so all our 17 candidates will be nominated in respective constituencies. The work continues of meeting the people, touching skins, canvassing for support, and of course giving further assurance and guarantees that this agenda is not dissimilar to any other Labour Party agenda. We were promised and delivered. You know, we continue to use phrases like promise made, promise kept, because those are the embodiment of the Labour Party. When we speak of creed of the empowerment of our people, the principles of justice and all these things, they're not just simple, idle, casual words. They're the very essence and quintessence of our existence, our pact with the people of Antiguans Barbudans. If you look at the national election history, you will see of 17 we won, but 14, and it's not coincidental. It speaks very deeply of a bond between the party and the people.
And the people.
It speaks of a people not only listening to the offers made going to elections, but people judging you on the deliveries after elections. Because it's very easy. You can make all kinds of promises. I can promise to marry you tonight. But can I marry you tomorrow? And I can't. I'm already married. But we don't do that. We make promises that we can keep. Promises which are rooted in consultation. That's another thing you got to bear in mind. The promises we make to the people are borne out in consultation with the people. And so in St. Paul's the last term, I would have had several town hall meetings my colleagues would have had across the country. And we gauge the responses, gauge the engagement with the people, the needs of the people. When we took, for example, the by-election in St. Philip's North the other day, when Comrade Randy Baltimore went in, he listened to the people.
Correct.
The people knew if he said, listen, we are garrison, but we need some roads.
Yeah.
They got what they wanted.
Responsive.
We are hearing, for example, Antiguans are saying, we want some more action and some alacrity in bringing back the cancer center. And tonight, Prime Minister announced it. In June, the cancer center be open. Mark is not here, no fault of ours. It's privately owned, the operators had their own issues, but we are committed to people and healthcare. In this case, cancer care, cancer treatment. And in June, we bring back to Antigua a fully operational cancer center, cancer treatment center, to make sure people no longer have to go to Colombia. And even as they go to Colombia, one thing can be said, that every single cancer patient from this country who has had to travel overseas for cancer treatment because of the absence of a clinic, they have received support from this government.
From the government.
So again, a commitment to the people, a bond with the people. And I make that point again just to zero in on what I said earlier about the history and the relationship between their party and the people. Of 17 general elections, of 17, we won 14. That's a story by itself. It speaks of what? A pact, a bond, a trust. And in politics, that trust factor is very important. Very important. And the people of St. Paul's will have trusted me for three terms. I am confident that the 4 terms are assured because of the bond, the very bond I'm speaking about, the very trust I'm speaking about.
Correct. So
and having delivered to the people.
A 4-peat. We're looking at a 4-peat.
4-peat.
For the constituencies that we're trying to capitalize on now, what type of headway are we making there?
All constituencies are in play. Both our polls and the UPP polls suggest.
Oh, they have a poll?
They have a poll. They have a poll from a gentleman again, Dan Anderson, and the poll is very clear that they are trailing all across the country. When you have a 22% swing in the party's favor, it means even the seat of the opposition leader is now in play. Tonight we saw, stateside,
yes,
a most prominent member of the All Saints East community, Billy King Warrior, who traditionally the support of the UPP and in particular its leader, coming out in public to endorse Comrade Lammy Newton. That tells you of not only the swing, but it tells you about the momentum and the bond that we are forging with the people, even in that constituency, which traditionally would have posed some problems for us. On Barbuda, we see Walker now literally pulling his hair out because a young, vibrant Barbudan, super intelligent, well-connected, is now knocking at the door and Barbuda saying, hey, we are ready for you, Kendra. And so all seats are in play. Dr. Benjamin, some say, why you brought Dr. Benjamin so late? Look, the story of Honorable Malvin Joseph, Sir Malvin leaving, is well documented, well chronicled. So I won't go there, except to say that we had to get a candidate who is known by the people, respected by the people. Dr. Fillmore Benjamin is a leading physician in this country.
That is correct.
A leading family physician in this country.
That is correct.
With family roots and contacts in that constituency. Someone who was working in the constituency even while Sir Malvin served. Because we always have plan B. You see, while others are falling asleep at the wheel and can't find their way around or to make decisions and solutions, we've always had a plan B. So Malvin indicated just long ago that, hey, it's iffy. And so we had Dr. Benjamin, we had Comrade Terry London, Comrade Basu Peters, all eligible, credible individuals. And when polled, Dr. Benjamin emerged number 2, second to Sir Malvin. And so it's very easy, once Sir Malvin left, to fit Dr. Benjamin into the slot. And with his popularity, it is easy to present him to the electorate in St. Mary's North as an alternative or a replacement for Sir Malvin. His candidature, his candidacy, his campaign is doing exceedingly well. And I'm no Nostradamus, I'm no Ezekiel, I'm no Daniel, but tonight, and I don't bet, I will say tonight I'm comfortable and confident that Dr. Fillmore Benjamin will continue the tradition of Labour Party representation of that constituency in St. Mary's North.
Excellent, excellent. And I'm confident just like you. I want to switch gears a bit to another constituency because again, we spoke about energy, we spoke about experience, and then we have youth. So we see constituencies like Rural West, we see constituencies like St. Philip South that has this burst of youthful energy. What is it about the Antiguans Barbudans Labour Party that is so attractive?
We're an attractive brand. When one studies the history of Labour Party and of politics in the country in general, it is easy to gravitate to the Labour Party. Because I made a point earlier, it's about not only manifesto promises, but what you deliver when in government. And 14 from 17 elections tells the story. We're doing something right. We are attracting the people, we are pleasing the people, and they're saying, hey, for pleasing us, for doing our work, continue. But the issue of our slate of candidates youth experience, it is not coincidence. I can take you back to an earlier period of Labour Party's history. Surveyor Cornwall Bird had the veterans of Ernest Williams and Christopher Omad and Joseph Myers, but he also had young Turks at Celestin Bird, John St. Luce, who when they came to politics were young men.
That is true.
Fast forward, Celestin Bird. He had his peers in people like Sir Rodney and others, but he too had younger members serving his government. So the party has always been able to have continuity as part of its mission, so that when the seniors leave the stage, the new, the incoming generation of leaders fit in very easily, very readily, because we come here on Friday evenings not to party. We come here Friday evenings to discuss the people's business. We come to look for leadership across the country to ensure the continuity of this institution. It's no wonder we are the oldest institution politically in this country. That's because there's always a plan for succession, a plan for continuity.
That is correct.
Other political institutions, organizations they call them, have always had stop and starts. I make another prediction. No Daniel, no Ezekiel, no Nostradamus. The UPP will collapse after 2026 general elections.
I actually see that happening.
Players who are opposed Labour for no known reason, except maybe family name and so forth and so forth, the Hall, the Walters, that kind of thing, they will form themselves into another group. They will rebrand it, rename it, but they come again with the same purpose. We're opposing the Labour Party, and when you oppose the Labour Party, what you do in fact, you're opposing the country's development.
That is
I want to repeat
exactly
that.
what it is.
When you oppose the Labour Party, in effect, you're opposing the people's development. Because if the people say to the Labour Party and to the country at large, 14 of 17 elections, we like this one, and you oppose that, it means you're against the people. It's as simple as that.
That is why they're still in this state of disarray.
And they will continue to be in disarray. And even when they try to rebrand and come again, it is only a matter of time before they have internal fissures and fractions, because it is not anything that's lasting.
Yes.
There's not that philosophically holds them together. We have a creed. What's the creed of the UPP?
That I do not know.
You can see a blend of youth and experience on stage tonight as we offer the country continued leadership. What do you see in the UPP?
Recycle candidates.
Harold Lovell retired about 3 times. Alistair Thomas should never have been. Jamal Pringle is a bad example of, let me put it another one, I was very kind to him. You should not at any time use the name Jamal Pringle and leadership in the same sentence.
In the same sentence, wow.
I'm not being brutally honest. Brutally honest. The country is grateful for leadership that successive Labour Party administration provided. Severe. The entire country, all sides, recognize him as what? Father of the nation.
That's Papa Bird right there.
When I was growing up, I heard of Papa Bird. He's not my papa, because Papa, you know, is the grandfather biologic. But the whole country called him Papa. And if you go to African tradition, Papa and Dada, those are very, very significant and symbolic names.
That is correct.
That are earned through service. You don't have that kind of thing in the UPP.
They don't.
Neither in the forebears of PLM and UNDP and all the other derivatives that follow.
Yeah. There is a former member of the organization, a great historian, we'll call his name right now, a great historian, and I asked him, what is the fundamental problem with the UPP? I would just love to know. If you're into politics, you want to know what happened to a government in waiting. Because honestly, I think our opposition is the people of Antigua and Barbuda. If it is they have an issue, they state it, and the government responds.
Which is why I'm advocating that what we will find we'll have to do in 2026 after polling is to have more town hall meetings in all the constituencies.
Yes.
Again, I'm predicting a win, a clean sweep. And so we got to bring the issues and hear from the people more often.
Yeah, that is correct.
So the people will be the ones to guide the process. A little more, a more involved arrangement.
Yeah.
Because there'll be no opposition voices.
None.
I mean, the truth is, what has been the value of the opposition voices in our democracy?
I mean, if it is, you
I asked
can't even
Antiguans
make,
this.
I mean, if you
I
can't
asked the
even
countries-
make it to Parliament.
I asked the countries very seriously, what has been essentially the value of the opposition to our democracy? In Parliament, they come unprepared for the debates.
Never have an alternative option.
They don't debate.
Never giving any suggestions.
Precisely.
No recommendations. Hey, let's not do this, but perhaps let's do it this way.
So we can find the development model in consultation between the elected and the elector,
That is it.
so that the voice of the people be be heard more often in their own locales. I'm advocating that we prepare ourselves for more town hall meetings and invite the people in this Renaissance moment to be more engaging of your leaders.
Correct. Correct. And we see it happening even
It
in the
can't be
era of
opposition for the sake
social
of,
media.
it cannot be opposition for the sake of opposition.
No.
It has to be opposition with meaning, with purpose, that aids the development of this country. We have not had that for 1 day, for 1 minute, for 1 second, for a millisecond of the UPP.
That is true. That is true. That is true. Now, going back to what will happen between now, April 13th, and of course, April 30th. I know there's something big happening in rural West because there's a renaissance happening there as well. That entire community, yes, it's a large community, it's a very diverse community, and there's a university there. I'm not sure if it's because the university is situated there while we're seeing this renaissance.
It's transformative. That very university is transformative. It's transformative.
Yeah.
You know, and when we decided to site the university there, the UPP opposed. And what they did not say to the public is that they really opposed it because of location. As a matter of fact, they said it without saying it. They said take it on the eastern side, up to the old USA Force Base, because they cannot countenance the idea of a tertiary institution being in the ghetto.
You said it plain.
And I mean brutal.
You said it plain.
I mean brutal. They cannot countenance the idea of a university campus being in the ghetto. Now, what is happening in the ghetto is transformational. It's a renaissance of and by itself. The number of students from the ghetto areas who have taken up the opportunity for tertiary training right here at home. People who could not afford to go to university are now in the corridors and the halls of UE. Families who could not afford to pay now are benefiting. And when we say that we want by in the next 5 to 7 years to have at least 1 or 2 persons per family in this country with tertiary training, it's not an idle offer. It is again a part of the Renaissance period of transforming education in Antigua and Barbuda, empowering our people through education. It is the very core, the very base and basis on which this country's development is premised.
Let's look at everything else that's happening around it. We have increased transportation heading down to that side. We have increased businesses. So many small business from the community that is surrounding the university who are not profitable.
No, I think second surveyor's acquisition of the syndicate lands.
Correct, for the expansion.
I think that the coming of UE is the second most important development in the history of this country. Some of us can see the vision, some may not, even as we speak, capture it, but I'm very satisfied that over time, more and more Antiguans will see the value and benefit of that investment we made in UE, and not only UE, but in our people.
Yes.
It is really UE, but more so our people. We made an investment for the development of our people, the human capital of our country, and in the development of our nation.
That is correct. And that is the Renaissance.
That is Renaissance.
In a nutshell.
We do know spiking it, moving it to another level. And as I said before, it is not moving it only, but in a people-centric way. The people in lockstep with the government, ensuring the development of Antigua and Barbuda.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. Comrade Chairman, I just want to tell you, thank you so much for joining us here this evening. I know it has been a historic moment. I just want a little bit for us just to turn and look at that crowd. I tried to make my way through. And if you're seeing this crowd from where you are, it is massive.
My St. Paul's people are there waiting for me. So
you have to go back there.
I haven't been with them yet.
Right.
Because I was on stage with the candidates. And so the plan is that after the candidates get off stage, I would work my way through the crowd to find them. And it's very easy to find them. They will have their own,
Their own little section.
paraphernalia and so forth and so
Definitely.
forth. But this crowd is indicative of the momentum of the Labour Party.
If you're to give a figure,
I
a rough estimate, how many persons do you think?
Because I could not see because of the lights, I'd want to go away from here and walk the crowd. And I have your number, I'll call you back and give you the number. And I have some expertise in crowd. I work for FIFA, where part of the job was to say how many people in the stadium.
Yes.
And so I will tell you tonight before I leave, via telephone or this message, the number of person that I estimate to be in this crowd. But this is significant momentum. When I look from the stage, I could not see the depth of the crowd because the tent, the sound tent somewhere in the middle there, and there are people beyond the tent. I see people in Yasco, people in the yard in the people's place, people behind the stage.
People at the
So I need to
sides.
really get a full view to make a guesstimate or estimate of the crowd. But when I saw the front of the stage, I saw youthful faces, I saw middle-aged people, I saw older people. So it tells me that this party continues to attract
And resonate
all
with
of-
the people.
all of Antigua Barbuda.
That is correct.
I know all our candidates had buses from the rural areas coming in. I know those who can walk from Villa and Grace Farm and Otters and Clay Hall would have walked over. So it's a magnificent turnout tonight of the launch of the party's election campaign. We are going back here soon again. We have the manifesto launch. We have a couple other programs that we will unveil over time. I will not see the thunder of the teams working,
Yes.
even though I'm chairman, I have the right to do so. I will respect the team approach because again, very important. The successes of the Labour Party over the years have to do more than anything else with the team approach. We've always had strong leaders, good leaders in the front. VC Bird, towering physically and otherwise. Celeste the same, Gaston the same. But each of those leaders have got a common thread in the leadership,
Yes.
the team approach,
Collaboration. Indeed.
They realize that they by themselves cannot do it. It requires a strong team, and the team, of course, extends into the population of Antigua Barbuda. So when I talk about us in lockstep with the people, it's not just the Gaston Brown era, it's the Lester Bird era, the VC Bird era. It's a Labour Party philosophy of engaging the people for national development.
Thank you so very much. In 1 minute, I want you to just speak to the people of Antigua and Barbuda to remind them how important it is to, one, go and ensure that your card is valid. A number of cards are still outdated. Please visit your nearest registration unit. They have extended their operation hours. It's now 8:30 to 7 p.m. Monday to Friday, and on the weekends, of course, they're open Saturdays and Sundays, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. This process is very simple, but what is even more so important is that you have that card and you can participate on April 30th. Comrade Chairman, why is it important for them to come out on April 30th and to vote for the Antigua Barbuda Labour
Well, I
Party?
first say to the people of St. Paul's who have not yet validated your cards, do so. Be a part of the process of electing a government that cares. Be a part of the renaissance that this country now embraces as the next step of development and progress and prosperity. To the wider island community, to all electors who have not yet gone to respective centers to revalidate your cards, I encourage you to do so. Do so quickly. I anticipate that after the announcement of the date tonight, April 30th, that there will be an influx of persons to get their cards revalidated. It is important. We need to demonstrate to the world that ours is a democracy where people understand the value of participation in elections. It counts for something. It speaks of us who we are and our seriousness about our country's development. And so I want to encourage you, go out there, get your cards revalidated. After doing so, I encourage you to go out on the 30th of April to cast your ballots in favor of the Labour Party candidates in your respective constituencies. This is not a simple election in terms of the nation and its future. It's a very important election for all of us. What we do on April 30th will determine where Antigua Barbuda goes. I'm confident, based on the commitments, on the engagements, that you are ready to re-elect the Antigua Labour Party on the leadership of Gaston Brown. But I ask you to do so in overwhelming fashion, in a resounding fashion, to show to this country, the neighboring countries, to the world over, that we understand the value of this process. For which person died? There's a time when people could not vote in our countries. Let's not take that right for granted. Let's take it for what it's worth. Make your voices heard and make your X's count on election day. Let us return the Antigua and Barbuda Party's office with a resounding, overwhelming victory to continue the development of Antigua and Barbuda, embracing this Renaissance period, this exciting period of national development. Antigua and Barbuda, it is ours to do. It is ours to keep our country rising, soaring, growing, developing, all those positive things on the Labour Party, and certainly with the care of God Almighty. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Antigua and Barbuda, in this election, always remember, Renaissance means a national renewed era. A new era built on trusted and proven leadership. It means that come April 30th, you have the opportunity and the obligation to ensure under an ABLP government, we continue to steer this country in the right direction. Greater prosperity, more opportunities, expanded housing, expanded healthcare, everything we would have built, we will continue to do. This is Renaissance. This is a new era. Thank you for joining us tonight.